What up? What up? Can I give myself a little bit round of applause?
You're exclusive.
I love them all. It's so hard to pick just. It's like trying to pick a child, a favorite child.
I also believe that everybody is special. And that's the thing, is discovering what makes you special and different from everybody else.
So
Whoa, that's $8 to $10 million a month.
it was more than that. It was a lot of money, and we had a lot of perks, and I had over 300 gas stations that I operated.
Hello, Tom LaVecchia here with the New Theory podcast. We're just going to jump right into it. We're here with Gary V at the Wine Library in Springfield, New Jersey. Gary V, how you doing today?
Phenomenal.
Nice. Happy to have you on. Okay, we're going to jump right into it. Gary V, if you haven't heard, if you're living under a rock, is a rockstar entrepreneur, four-time best-selling author, invested in Facebook, Twitter, and so forth. Gary, first tell us briefly about your formative years and what makes you you.
You know, I wasn't born in this country, this amazing country, which was a blessing because I realized how amazing it is. I was born in the USSR. I came to the US, cut my teeth in New Jersey, Edison specifically, lemonade stands, baseball cards, that kind of whole jam. And then got dragged into this liquor store that we're sitting in here now. It's called Shoppers Discount Liquors. And really fell in love with wine and wine collecting, rebranded it to Wine Library, launched winelibrary.com, and built the business from a $3 to a $60 million business on the back of innovative marketing like email and Google AdWords and YouTube videos when that was innovative. Sure. Led me to say I have something, let me invest in the next innovative things, and that led me to investing in Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr, and that changed the course of my career. And then I decided to start the greatest marketing firm of all time, and that's what I'm in the process of doing with Vaynermedia, which is an 800-person firm. And then I wrote 800-person modern-day advertising firm. And then I wrote 4 New York Times best-selling books. Depending on when you post this, it'll be 5 because my new book comes out in January 2018.
Nice.
And then in the last year, a real significant turn. I think my brand has taken on a different kind of thing. My notoriety and awareness has grown exponentially. And through podcasting and YouTube videos and Facebook content, Instagram, a lot more people associate me as a motivational entrepreneur, which is fine. I don't want to be a caricature of myself, so I stay operating. Yeah. Right? I don't want to become Gary V. Yeah. I'm Gary Vaynerchuk, businessman. There you go. But the Gary V thing's fun for me because it's making a lot of people pay attention, and it allows me to push what I think is real, good, honest truths down people's throats in a kind of rock star way. Instead of shortcuts and bullshit and girls and nightlife and entrepreneurship, is fun and easy. I go the other way, tried and true patience, do the right thing, and it's going well.
Okay, so if I'm filtering this correctly, you got the process down here at Wine Library, and then you actually grew it through Vaynermedia. But now you
I got the process down. I learned about marketing by marketing this company. Yeah. And then I started Vaynermedia to do that for others.
Got it. And
build an advertising firm of the future. So it wasn't Vaynermedia that grew Wine Library. It was why I grew Wine Library as the marketer, and I brought that thesis to Vaynermedia, and that's how it's worked out.
Okay, so we know about a lot of your successes, and I always like to ask, what is your darkest time as an entrepreneur? Because you were able to enjoy the successes, but you probably had a dark time. What was it?
I think entrepreneurship is pretty dark all the time. You know, I don't have one big major failure or was close to suicide or lost all my money. I just think it's tough every day. Every day you're on the hook. Every day it's your fault. Every day you're by yourself. Every day it's you. And so you're in your head. And unless you're in a really good place, you're finished. And so for me, the darkest time is the part I like. I like the pressure. I want the ball in my hand with 3 seconds left, down 2. That's who I am. So for me, it's been difficult to really have a dark time. But I would say that family dynamics are different. I've had 2 family businesses, with my dad and my brother, and the times where we're not aligned or I'm regretting or resenting them are the times when I'm most nervous. Those have been some of the bigger challenges, but my love for those 2 is far greater than my love for myself in some weird way. It's not about the money, it's about the pride of it all, the merit of it all. So the family dynamics have been difficult, but not difficult enough to make me ever not want to do it again.
Okay, so you have Meteoric Growth. At this point...
I don't know. right?
Yeah.
I'm 35 years in the making. I was a terrible student because I was doing business when I was 8, 9, 10. I probably did more business as a 12 to 15-year-old than most people do in their lives. I mean, I 100% spent my time on
Selling
business.
baseball cards.
Baseball cards mainly. And, I had to go to school, but in those 7 hours in my head, I was baseball carding. When I was home, I was baseball carding. I never did homework in high school or studied for a test in my entire life.
Yeah.
So I was 100% pot committed all into that. And so Meteoric Rise, AKA 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And so like,
True.
kind of, but not really.
Yeah. I'm going to send it to you. We had Dr. Miami on. He's a big Snapchatter, and had him on, and he talked about it took 17 years to be an overnight success.
Right.
So you're living in a good space right now. Should you continue to worry about the competition, or are they irrelevant?
So should I continue to worry about the competition would have meant that I ever did care about the competition. I have never spent a minute on my competition in a way that would blow your mind. I'm aware, because you kind of have to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But the amount of time I've spent on the competition, I don't even know the name of the other agencies I'm competing with. I've never even visited the websites of big retailers in the wine business when I was a kid. I'm just so in my own shit.
Yeah.
I'm about the customer.
Yeah.
I'm not about myself. I'm definitely not about my loser competition. And so I actually don't think you can get into a good place to even begin to not paying attention to the competition. I think you've got to start by not caring about the competition, which is how you get into a good place. If you're worried about the competition, you're slow. It means you're spending time on dumb shit.
Yeah.
And I don't do that.
Now, you've hired, $13 an hour retail employees all the way up probably to some people making $300,000.
Way more than that.
Exactly right. How do you know when you made the right or wrong decision? How quickly do you know?
Sometimes instantaneously.
Wow.
Sometimes 6 months. There's been people that I've hired that I fired in my head a week in. It just took 6 months. There's people that I thought things were good for 2 years and then fired on a whim, on a realization, and then it happens quick. There's no right answer to this. I don't judge myself, I just do.
Yeah.
And you see a whole bunch of different ways that it goes down.
Now, for a lot of entrepreneurs starting, what's your philosophy? How protective of equity are you?
One more time.
How protective equity as options to employees or to incent them? How do you?
It runs hot and cold. I was very wheelie and dealy with equity in Vaynermedia. Wine Library, my dad is 100% not giving anybody anything, including me.
Old school.
I think it's a balance. I think everybody has to decide that for themselves. But I can tell you that selfishness usually tends to lead to less return.
Okay. You were dead right on the social media front.
Yes.
Talk us about machine learning and what's next.
It's going to be big. Look, I'm a bigger fan of voice than I am of anything else right now because I'm more about consumer behaviors. I think as consumer products, I think machine learning is going to be an unbelievable impact on our lives because a ton of dumb shit that doesn't need humans will be taken care of. An enormous amount of stuff that my team does on Team Gary around content will be replaced by machine learning. Because it's just systematic, it's repeat and rinse, and so I'm a fan. I'm excited about machine learning and AI, and I think that it's going to be a huge space, and I highly recommend people getting educated on it.
Best day of your life?
Probably when my first daughter Misha was born. Or actually, that's slightly behind when the Jets beat the Patriots in the second round of the playoffs. That was honestly, this is not a joke. That was the best day of my life. I knew Misha was coming. I thought we were going to lose by 50 points going into that New England game. And the satisfaction of looking at all those piece of shit Patriot fans in their house, leaving their stadium, losing something that they foregone thought was going to happen was gratifying and happy at a level that I have not been able to replicate. Not the first time I kissed a girl or had sex, not when I had a baby, not when I got married, not when I made my first $1 million. All of that combined, less than when the Jets beat the Patriots in the playoffs in 2011.
Worst day of your life?
The worst day of my life hasn't happened yet. I think the worst day of my life is going to be when I lose the first person in that inner circle of my parents, my spouse, or my children, which would be the most disastrous.
Yeah. Final question. What are you working out now that excites you? Because at this point, you've done a lot. I don't say you've done it all, but you've done it a lot because you'll never be satisfied. Let's be honest, right? Which is a good thing. But what are you most excited about right now in your life?
That even at the levels that I'm playing at right now, the opportunities that I'm playing at, the wealth that I'm playing out, the notoriety that I'm playing at, it's crazy to me how not even remotely close to satisfied I am. And I think all of us that have ambition wonder, is there going to be a moment where we have something or get to somewhere where you're so satisfied it changes the way you think about things? I would argue that I'm probably the hungriest I've ever been in my life right now, which is cool because I also know I'm not fabricating it to be cool right now. It's just my truth. And I think that's interesting to me because that makes me say, fuck, like, I'm really up to something here. If I'm hungrier than ever, I mean, I took more red eyes in the last 4 months than I've taken in the last 2 years. Like, I'm getting hungrier to maximize and make it difficult on me and grind. I'm just excited that I'm still as hungry as if I was living in a studio apartment with 18 people with a fucking penny to my name. I've got that same fucking rawness still, which means I'm not in it for anything but the love of the game, which means I got a real shot of pulling off some crazy ass shit.
All right, so you got your 5th book, which we know is going to be a bestseller. When's it going to be available, and is it available for pre-order?
It's available for pre-order. I actually just saw it on Amazon today, which freaked me out.
Beautiful.
And it comes out June 30th. Crushing It. It's the follow-up to the book that put me on to the scene in the business world. Crush It. It's my strategy of what to do on social media to get the things that you want to happen, whether that is to get donations to the PTA or make $10 million selling sneakers. It's all the same shit. It's attention arbitrage. It's creative and distribution. It's the way the world has always worked.
Gary, thank you for being on the New Theory podcast, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.